First, I want to welcome you all to our first annual Pathfinder Community Space Camp. And this is our second day with our keynote session of unlocking the career success with Automation Anywhere certifications. It's really great to see some familiar names. For those of you who've been part of the user group and other community events, I genuinely love having you come back, and also love all of those that are joining for the first time. And to meet new community members. My name is Suzanne Shaw. I have the privilege of being the user group program manager here at Automation Anywhere, and we'll be hosting today's session. A little bit about what we're doing with Space Camp and what is the Pathfinder community. So a common definition for Pathfinder is one that discovers a way, especially one that explores untraversed regions to mark out a new route. You are our Automation Anywhere global community leaders, and you are Pathfinders, and the community team is here to be one of your key partners in automation acceleration and success. Space Camp marks the next chapter in our community partnership as we grow and we scale, and this is your mid-year community symposium intended to propel you to your end of mission success. Each day this week, we'll be offering daily activities. If you attended yesterday's session, you'll kind of know the drill, but we will have both live community events like this with conversations, and then we'll also have a virtual community experience in the Pathfinder community anchored on the Automation Pathfinder program missions on the website. The Automation Pathfinder program is your intergalactic flight map for automation mission success, developed with over 20 years of firsthand automation expertise across thousands of use cases. Don't miss out on the action. I'm actually going to drop a couple links in the chat, and including our fun bot game session 4, which is an AI edition. So your chance to get hands-on with AI now. I'll add those in the chat. Also, just a couple more tidy business items of business. One, please feel free to engage in the chat. I'm going to be passing off to our host of this session, but we will be answering questions at the end of the session. So please feel free to put any of your questions in the Q&A. Also, feel free to engage in the chat. I'll be monitoring that along with my team. We're really excited to have you here. And I am so thrilled to be passing off to our host of the session, Binu. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Suzanne. Greetings, everyone. I'm pleased to introduce myself as a Senior Director of Learning Strategy and Curricula at Automation Anywhere. With over 25 years of experience in designing and implementing learning programs for various high-tech companies, I bring a lot of passion for learning. In the last 2 years with Automation Anywhere, I've had the privilege of leading a talented team that is responsible for creating the courses and certifications that feature prominently on our website. The community and university team that I'm part of is committed to ensuring that our learning programs provide our customers and partners with the right skills that they need to succeed in their automation journeys. So that is about me and my team. I'd like to now pass it on to Anne-Sophie. And please introduce yourself.
Thanks, Binu. Hi, everyone. My name is Anne-Sophie Derame. I am French living in Ireland, and I have 20 years or so experience in operations. So I am not like most of you I saw in the chat. I am not an IT person, but in the last 2 years, I've joined Abbott, and in their financial shared services, I've been working as part of a center of excellence with IT to develop the automation and robotic program.
Thank you. Swarna? I think you're on mute.
That would be helpful. Well, thank you, Binu. My career experiences over the past 20 years have been in large-scale OpEx transformation, so really focused on driving efficiencies and productivity for large global companies. And I've done it in both management consulting firms and corporations with business models and emerging technologies. and I'm currently with Moffitt Cancer Center. It's a cancer center that is the only NCI designated cancer center in Florida. And my responsibility here is to drive operational transformation with emerging technologies across the enterprise.
Wow. Thank you, Swarna. So let us now get to the main part of the session. If you think about it, we all want growth. It could be company growth or personal career growth. And this is an important topic for many of us. So we are honored to create this panel where we will share about the certification and the value of it in our careers. We'll get your pulse on some of the questions you have related to education and certification. We will also gain some great insights from our panelists and their companies and how they have benefited from education and certification. As we dive in, I just want to remind all of you that there is a polling question in the chat. If you have already answered the question, thank you. If you haven't, please take a moment and key your answers. And now is a great time to do that. As a panel moderator, I'll be guiding the conversation today. And towards the end of the session, we will open up the forum for questions. So please write down your questions as you think of them. And this session will be for about 30 minutes. Honestly, it's a short period for me to be talking to two wonderful ladies here. So without much delay, we'll get into the session and I'll just look at the responses. Okay, a large number of you like to go through the learning trail. Then we have people who like taking hands-on practice and also consume short videos. So that is wonderful to know. Thank you, team. Okay, so let's start the conversation with the first question going to Swarna. Swarna, could you tell us how you got familiar with automation anywhere university and how you personally or your teams have used our offerings?
Back to muting myself, unmuting myself. So back in, I'm dating myself here, but back in 2018, I was freelancing. I'd been an entrepreneur for a while and I was freelancing and I was looking back to get back into the corporate world. And I came across RPA. With my background in shared services and business model transformation, I immediately saw the value of RPA, even though I didn't understand the technology. And I saw the implications of how it could actually help automate all the type of work that shared services organizations do in the back office. So I was very excited. And of course, robotic process automation sounded exciting. I have a passion for emerging technologies. So I jumped in and I kind of explored how I could get trained in it, found AA training, got certified, and haven't looked back since in terms of being in the space. But in terms of how my teams use it, every time we start a new cohort of citizen developers and, as and when we add more of our pro or IT developers, we require them to go through the AAU courses and demonstrate that they have completed their certification, because that allows us to know that we're starting off on the same page of how we're going to support and enable these individuals.
Thank you, Swarna, for sharing your story. Moving from a freelancer to a corporate leader, and I'm really happy to hear that, our offerings have helped you in the journey. And also the other thing I gleaned was the whole curriculum and the certification is setting a baseline for your team. And I'm sure there is a lot more learning that's happening on the job on a daily basis.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, I'd like to put Anne-Sophie on the spot and ask the next question. And what is the biggest challenge for you to upskill your teams?
So, as I said, our team in finance is made of accountants, accounts payable, people who have studied finance, accounting, etc. And for them to upskill, it's about changing their skill set. So one of their own challenge is to see beyond what they already know. And robotics is obviously not something that they've touched most of the time during their studies or during their work experience so far. So it is supporting each individual that is part of, we call them academies and you call them cohorts, Swarna, that group of people that come with their own worries about themselves. Some of them are reluctant to change just because change is just so big. And again, this is such a big step and nothing to do with what I knew before, or, I'm too old or whatever it may be. And then the other ones are the ones that want to touch it, but just fear, oh my God, I've never done that. So how am I going to do that? So you've got to kind of support each individual where they are at, again, to reach that same level of knowledge as Swarna was speaking. So that's where the a university sets the pace, where you all do the same things. And usually when you go with an academy or a cohort, you help each other. So that's the challenge that we've tried to kind of shift a little bit.
Thank you. Because again, I'm seeing a common thread that is challenge for people to see beyond or the apprehensions, fear. And as you rightly said, change is difficult for everybody. And to look beyond that takes a lot of push, motivation. And the other thing that the two of you outlined is the offerings that Automation Anywhere provides creates a baseline, and then you take off from there. Excellent. So I'll move on to the next question, and that is, how has learning personally helped you get where you are? And what advice would you have for others who really admire what you've achieved? Swarna, would you like to go first? Take us.
Yeah, so interesting you asked that question, Binu, because we each of us did a strengths finder exercise recently, and my top strength is learning, which is a little bit cultural, but probably a lot of me. I love learning, and it's sort of been a singular path to leading me to every decision I've made in my career. Particularly, I love about learning about emerging technology. So I read a lot, and that's really helped me keep pace with change. As people get further into their career, it's really hard to keep track of all the things that are going on in the industry. But because I love to learn, because I love to read, I've been able to keep track of what's going on in the industry, but not just keeping track of what's going on, but also learning about its implications. How is it going to actually help us do work and drive business goals in different ways? How is it relevant for my teams? How is it relevant for the work we do on a day-to-day basis? And then being able to adapt to these changes. So being able to plan ahead when we're in the planning stage, being able to incorporate things that we could do in a short-term or immediate basis because we can see these upcoming changes. And it's all because I love to learn and read. So in terms of technologies, sometimes I go hands-on just to see what it's about. Like XR, that's one of the passions I have now, but I'm also keeping track of all the other intelligent automation spectrum of technologies and the implications on how we can help continue to drive transformation. And all of these inevitably helps us drive value as individuals, as leaders, and that hopefully helps with career advancement as well.
Wow, excellent answer. Let me pass it on to Anne-Sophie. Anne, what is your perspective?
So I think it's very similar to Swarna in learning will always get you to the next level, and level doesn't always mean up. I've changed roles in many cases kind of in parallel. And again, if you look at people in my organization, most of them will believe that I have an IT background, which I don't. I just kind of connected with people and asked questions to try to teach myself why it mattered, and that has opened doors for me. And that's what I tell people in general. Learning is gonna get you places, and again, it's at all levels. It's not just about emerging technologies. It's when you want to know about the process. It's when you want to know about what the others may be doing. And it can be, again, I'm working with a lot of accountants. It can be also about, other countries doing something very similar, just in a different way, just because they came at it in a different manner. So yeah, very, very similar to Swarna in that sense, that learning by asking and by being open to see something different is usually gonna change something for you. And in most cases, the people that I see around me have a very similar approach as well, and they will, tap at something or touch something and kind of, little by little get to know it more. And sometimes you also realize that you start learning something that you don't like and you step away.
That is a good point. So a few things that I absorbed from you guys is that one is learning is vital, one to expand your thinking, to drive value, and that leads to career advancement. And Swarna, I want to congratulate you for using your strength in learning to get you where you are. I think something that's very admirable. And Anne-Sophie, yes, you made a good quote. Learning opens doors for you. And learning is not just taking the courses or doing an assessment. In the world of learning, we talk about 70, 20, 10. And what that means is this is a model which talks about how we all learn. 10% of our learning is from structured content. Maybe it's a university, it's a college, whatever it might be. The 20% is from the learning that you do, like Swarna said, she reads a lot. So all that informal learning that happens. And the 70% happens from on the job, doing it, observing, trying things, failing. So that is why when we build courses, we do our best to add check your understanding questions, just so that you can self-assess where you are. If there is an area that is not very good, you can go back, update yourself in learning that again. Or it could be a motivation that drives you to get a badge, a certification that really speaks to your expertise and so on. So thank you both for the answer. So Anne-Sophie, I'm going to ask you the next question. Moving to hiring employees. So when you hire employees, do you look for AU certification? And if so, how has certification helped your organization?
So at the start, when we started with the Citizen Developer Program, no, because we took on people internally. So by default, we didn't know what they had done, previously, and we again kind of said what we wanted out of them. So we didn't. However, as we're growing that community internally in Abbott, yes, in places we are looking for those certification from Automation Anywhere University. And one of the reasons is because we've realized, so some people have come unknowingly to us having the certification because they've done it in their previous company or they've done it personally as well. And we realized that mixing, again, from people who came with nothing, did it on the job, and people who had it before, the exchange and the building of skill set and was stronger. So that's in places we do, but we also want that balance of people that don't come with that.
Right. Okay, so you definitely touched upon the concept of peer learning, learn from each other, and that is the biggest strength of community. And honestly, we have community and university together in Automation Anywhere, and that's really bringing a lot of rewards for our customers and partners. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to pose the same question to Swarna. Swarna, how has certification played a role when you're hiring people and even after?
Yeah, no, I really liked Anne-Sophie's response because they've sort of organically grown the skill sets. I think in our space, we did the same with a couple of people. So they learned on their own, they went on AAU. But when I came into the picture, I think I started bringing in the certification angle. So when we hire new developers, we do look for certification because it helps know that they are going to hit the ground running. They have, some basic level of knowledge, and speed is really important. As many of you know, healthcare can be slower than other organizations. So part of the challenge is how do we enable speed, and having certifications sometimes helps developers come in and hit the ground running. With citizen developers, same as Anne-Sophie, there was initial organic development of some of the individuals who learned, because they're coming in from the process side, they learned about it, but then eventually we got them to a point of going through a certification because it helped them put all the learnings that they had in a more disciplined, structured manner. And they would say, aha, well, I knew this, but they would still take a few nuggets of wisdom away from the certification. So it's not mandatory. We don't necessarily do it, but we found that when people take it, it seems to really help them put it all together. And so it's part of something that we encourage.
Excellent. Yeah, and when you look at the industry and all of the certifications that AWS, Microsoft, ServiceNow, a lot of companies have, it is setting a certain bar for the individual. And this is excellent way for them to learn the technology, have hands-on experience. And we always remind our learners that when you take a certification exam, you need a good amount of practice. And the two things that I pulled away from the answers that you gave me was your learning that helps you with certification. And the other one is the organic learning. So you have domain expertise, then you go through a path of discipline structured learning. Although not mandatory, it definitely helps you hit the ground running, and it gives you that boost in terms of knowledge and probably paves the way for the next step in your career, whether it is vertical or horizontal. Thank you both. Okay, let's see, we have 5 minutes. Let's go to the next question, which I'm sure will be an interesting one. And I remember you mentioning this, that you had a success story of someone in your organization that used AU certification. So if you could tell our participants a little more about that.
Sure, I probably have many success stories, but yeah, I'm conscious of the time, so I'll give you one. Yeah, we have a lady in the company that again came from accounts payable team, no IT background, etc. And when the suggestion was made, that a program was going to start for citizen developers, she straight away, like it was pretty immediate, she straight away saw the benefits for herself, for her team. How am I going to save time when I need to do the credit review for customers? How am I going to save time when I need to update the credit line for a customer or vendor, something like that? So straight away, before she even started the training, she had ideas of how she was going to put it in practice. And Swarna kind of spoke about that, but it kind of came the other way around. So she didn't think of it from the process. She started by thinking, okay, robotics, how does that help me on my day to day? So she did the courses that we had put in place, which is mandatory for us. We've set a certain number of them, and again, literally the months after, she had already built some bots, small in reality, but that were saving her minutes or hours here or there, and it just built her confidence. And she was then asked to join a team that was starting on a new project, setting up or introducing a new ERP globally. And the same, she starts straight away, okay, I know how I can support the implementation of the project as well as the long term where the ERP has gaps, because sometimes in ERP capabilities they don't all connect all the same, or something is missing that a human needs to do that actually potentially can be automated. So it has saved hours for the team to go live straight away, to do cleanups and some other kind of prep work. And then now for the long term, there's already a few gaps that have been closed very, very quickly. So yeah, she's definitely one of the shining stars for us.
Yeah, please pass on our congratulations to this shining star, because again, what I took away was very proactive, self-motivated, future-focused, and someone who embraced change to bring about the business impact. Congratulations again. Yeah. Okay, we may have time for one more question. And Swarna, let me ask you this question. What is one piece of practical advice you would give someone who is just starting out in intelligent automation or robotic process automation?
Yeah, that's a really good question, especially given the last answer from Anne-Sophie, because people are coming in either from the process side or from a technology side when you look at this space. And I think in either scenario, if you're starting out new, it's important to first understand what is intelligent automation, because it's a term that gets thrown out, but after a few years of having been around, it has a pretty standard definition. Understand what the spectrum of it is, and then probably based on where you are, if you are in a particular function or team, if you're coming in from the process side, you understand where your niche is, the nature of the transactions. For example, if you're in finance or supply chain, there are a lot more high volume transactional type activity. Then robotic process automation, the intelligent spectrum proves to be probably a technology that you might want to get familiar with because it helps drive value in your space. So finding your niche and finding the technology that matches it. But if you're coming in from the technology side, it's really about matching your skill sets and your aptitude and your passion, right? Of what is it that excites you, because eventually you have to be able to learn the technology and learn to apply it to whichever business problem is presented to you to be able to help solve it. So irrespective of either, dimension, it's so important to know where your niche is, what is the right space, and being able to dive in there to learn how you can add value. I think that's what has worked for me. I've seen my team members kind of gravitate towards one area versus another, whether they're coming from the process side as citizen developers or whether they're coming in from the IT side and want to expand their skills. So always down to what's your niche.
Right. Okay, Anne-Sophie, your perspective on this?
Yeah, I think obviously I completely agree with Swarna. I think the one thing that I would say to people, and that I actually do say to people, is be curious but be willing to push yourself, because you will face hurdles if it's completely new to you. Again, I deal with people that usually don't have any technological background, so don't give up at the first hurdle. It happens. That's part of the learning, right? So continue pushing yourself and believe that you will achieve it, and you'll get somewhere.
Wow, wonderful pieces of advice from both of you. I just want to look at the polling question and the answer to that. So the answer to the second question, most people believe certification, the value of that is mainly in increasing professional credibility, and you guys are absolutely right. The other one is for better career opportunities and also to contribute to the organizational goal. And the other two also play a role, but these were the three top ones. So, both Swarna and Sophie gave us a lot of practical insights into what they have observed at their workplace for themselves and for their teams. I enjoyed the session. And as you were noting, as you may have observed, I was taking notes. And I'm sure you folks also enjoyed the session as much as I did. Suzanne, maybe we could do the last polling question. And as we answer those questions, what I'd also like to do is take questions from the audience on this very topic. We could try and answer them. Okay, the last polling question was, is there any AI product or technology you want to learn more deeply about? So generative AI is trending, not surprised. We'll just give it a few more seconds.
Binu, I'm coming off mute for just a moment. Just for everyone who's joining us, thank you so much. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop in the chat or in the Q&A technology and within the Zoom meeting. Happy to have Anne-Sophie, Swarna, or Binu answer any of your questions on AAU certifications and other learning opportunities.
I see one of the comments which said, is this women-only meeting or event? Honestly, it was not planned that way. It just happened. And I think it is a great thing. Women in technology. It's wonderful. Okay, so generative AI, definitely, as Suzanne was mentioning at the start of the session, we do have a lot of things planned for generative AI, which will be revealed this week. As we go, we have 3 more days, and then we are also working on a lot of other learning assets that support generative AI. Board games is one of the cool ones that has been launched this week. So definitely use that to learn more about generative AI.
Binu, do you see the question? Is there any specific learning trail for generative AI?
Yeah.
Sorry, AI.
Yeah, Mukhtar, at this very moment, we don't have any. We, as many of you are doing, we're very glued to this technology, trying to understand where it's going, what all it'll help us accomplish. But we are trying to put together a few learning nuggets that will help us. And eventually, who knows, we might have a learning trail dedicated to this. Good question. Are there others that Swarna or Anne-Sophie could answer?
I don't see any other questions. Some really great comments. So give it just another minute, and Binu, you're welcome to pass on to Sanjay. Oh, sorry, here's one question. Is there any plan to define or implement framework for AA like ARIA framework and UiPath?
Oh, honestly, I don't have an answer to that, but
Ramesh, we can, we'll follow up with you
yes.
from our product team. They'll be able to answer that more equipped.
Yeah, we'll get back to you.
This is a really great question. What do you recommend to land a job after getting certified for an RPA fresher? What are some relevant work experience?
What do you recommend to land a job after getting certified for an RPA fresher? I can take a stab at it, and my co-panelists, please share your perspective as well. There are a lot of companies that are focused on automation. And as you have heard, it spans across industries, healthcare, finance, telecom, banking, and so on. I think as a fresher, if you have the knowledge, if you have the certification as an added boost, I would apply to these companies and see what they have done for automation, which you may find as you read on their website, and definitely apply to those industries. But the ones that I quoted definitely are focusing heavily on automation. And so, Swarna, your viewpoints?
I would agree with you, Binu. You probably want to go for a company that is focused on automation. However, I would say that sometimes, again, some companies, and that's obviously probably not the corporate, will be very interested by your CV just because you've got something different than what their usual or current employees have. So I wouldn't specifically stop myself as well if there is not a massive automation team in the company that you're interested in, as long as you touch something that connects. So again, it can be a broader technology, new technology, etc., that they're looking at. And by having that on your CV or on your resume, that's going to help them see something different in you. So you probably will get the job, easier than the next person.
Yeah, I think I'll add a slight twist to that. Because RPA is process automation, being able to demonstrate that you have process understanding is really a huge boost. Whether you have it already in your toolkit, or it's something that you can demonstrate by logical and analytical thinking, is always a huge value add when someone's looking at hiring someone with an RPA, technology experience or certification. I think whether you're a developer or a business analyst, it's that ability to understand process, which is really key.
Excellent. Okay, Suzanne, are there other questions?
Actually, I think this is a really great question. What are the biggest challenges you faced for non-technical citizen developers in training?
Okay, so our two panelists do have a lot of experience with in this particular area. I'll have them answer and then I'll add on to it. So Swarna, would you like to go first?
Sure. I think Anne-Sophie has some gems there. I get this feeling. But so from our side, I think the interesting part is we get some very enthusiastic folks. I mean, they are so smart in terms of their understanding of process issues. So typically when we're building a cohort, we kind of look for people who have logical thinking, analytical thinking, and they demonstrate that. But then it's interesting because you think coding is logical and analytical, and it really is. But but when they start coding, and I can see Anne-Sophie smiling, because when you start coding, it's just suddenly all the logic and analytical aptitude that the person has may or may not come through, translate. So what we have learned is there are some who are just are able to translate that natural skill that they have very quickly in actually doing the coding, which is understanding the scripting language and then being able to put it in a sequence of line items, if you will. And we've seen, people who do that right very quickly, and then others who are just phenomenally logical. I mean, they may come from financial analysis, for example, and have demonstrated all the skills, but they do struggle a little bit with getting into those details. And so the way we have handled it is two parts. One is we give them guidelines on structured templates and how to go about leveraging something so you don't have to start from scratch. But also a lot of coaching. So that is the interesting thing. We haven't nailed in a perfect formula yet, but assuming that they had the right mindset, they had the right aptitude, they had the right enthusiasm and the energy level, that's the single biggest challenge we've found.
Yeah, I completely agree with Swarna. That's usually exactly that, translating that logic that you have on your everyday business work activities to coding sometimes is not, like for like. But when you do, it's very, very quick indeed. So yeah, how do you kind of tackle that? It's similar to what Swarna said in terms of the templates, but also, again, practice with little exercises. take it small. Usually those people that are so detailed, they know their process end to end, and they kind of want to solve for the end to end. Break it down, look at, piece by piece, and take a little bit, and that's going to be easier to then, kind of tackle that challenge.
Absolutely. Again, great nuggets from both of you. And I just wanted to add one small thing, that if you look at the citizen development trail, we have two pieces to it. One is the basics, and that was built mainly keeping in mind that people may be absolutely new to this intelligent automation space. And once you review that, feel comfortable, gather the right amount of knowledge, then you can definitely take the practitioner trail, which is technically a little more advanced. I just want to be mindful of the time. We are not done yet with this session, so please don't go anywhere. Sanjay is going to do a review of what you can do to get certified. He's a certification lead, and he'll take the next few minutes to share some resources with you to help you get certified. But before I pass it on to Sanjay, I just want to thank Anne-Sophie and Swarna. Thank you, ladies, for giving us a lot of knowledge, time, and it was excellent talking with you both. Thank you.
Thanks, Binu.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Sanjay, on to you.
Yes, Binu, thank you. I'm going to share my screen, and if you could just confirm you're able to see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Sanjay Kunithala, and I am the lead certification developer at Automation Anywhere. Before I start, thank you, Binu, and our wonderful panelists for a very informative discussion on certifications and the value it brings to your intelligent automation journey. So during the discussion, we realized that a certain level of preparation is needed before one can take up certification. So from that perspective, Automation Anywhere University offers a rich catalog of courses that anyone interested in learning about intelligent automation can make use of. These courses are media rich, they're highly interactive, and they also cover important functionality of Automation 360 and its components. Now, we have organized the learning offerings or the catalog into role-based learnings to provide a curated list of content for various roles that play a role in intelligent automation, be it the pro developer, the advanced pro developer, business analyst, or an automation leader, or even administrative roles such as the control room admin. And I did see a few questions in the Q&A asking, how would somebody new to RPA, what would they start with? So as we go through, we'll see how these learning trails are curated by role and what they offer for each of these roles. So to start with, let's first look at the pro developer or the bot developer and what the journey of a pro developer would be to kind of learn things about intelligent automation and achieve the certification. So as a pro developer, after you acquire the fundamental knowledge about RPA or intelligent automation, you'd be raring to get some hands-on and build automations of various complexity levels. And that's where the bot developer learning trail comes into picture. So in this trail, we have various courses that take you through the various action packages that are available in Automation 360, basically teaching you how to use the platform and build bots. And you have other topics such as how to build scalable or resilient bots. Now, all the courses in this learning trail, they cover or they provide step-by-step instructions for learners to build automations, taking the help of real life like use cases. For example, if you're talking about recorders, the course just doesn't teach you how to use a universal recorder. It basically teaches you how to use a universal recorder to solve a business problem that you might face in your organization or in your day-to-day work. Now, as a pro developer, once you've completed this learning trail, now you would want to take up a certification in to kind of prove that you have completed your learning, and you want to be able to get yourself certified and establish uh, your skills in the RPA field. Now, to help you achieve the advanced certification, we have two certifications, the advanced and the masters, as you can see on the slide. Now, to help you achieve the advanced certification, what we have is an advanced certification prep learning trail. It's again a set of curated content that helps you learn the various topics that are required for you to attempt the questions in the advanced certification. So once you've achieved, or once you've conquered the milestone of the advanced certification, you would next be looking at getting yourself certified as a master RPA professional. Now, that certification requires a little more knowledge and a little more different set of skills. It's a notch higher than what you would for an advanced certification. So to help you prepare for that, what we have on offer is a classroom training or instructor-led training called as the Mastering Bots ILT. Now, apart from the topics listed over here, Mastering Bots ILT provides you an opportunity to try out hands-on and build simple to medium complexity bots, because we provide you a virtual environment where you can try your hands on the Automation 360 product and its latest features. Now, once you've completed the Mastering Bots ILT, you have the Master Certification Prep Learning Trail that provides you an additional set of courses that you can go through to prepare yourself before you attempt the Master Certification. So that would be your journey as a pro developer in achieving achieving your certifications. Now, as you learn more and work more on the Automation 360 product, you might evolve into what we call as the advanced bot developer or the advanced pro developer. Now, once you reach that stage, what we have on offer for you is a newly created advanced bot developer learning trail that takes you through advanced concepts such as how you can build bots that cater to or that are compliant with the guidelines that the COE has set for you, how to troubleshoot bots, and even how to use control room APIs to kind of remotely access the control room and, let's say, deploy your bots and things like that. You even learn how you can develop custom action packages that you can deploy onto the control room for other bot developers to use. Now, that's for the advanced pro developer. Now, as an advanced pro developer, if you're looking at certification, your journey to certification would be same as the pro bot developer. You have the prep trails that are on offer, and even the Mastering Bots ILT. Right now, we have a lot of citizen developers that play a role in your organization. Now, what do we have for them? So citizen developers can start with the citizen developer basic learning trail that takes you through the basic concepts of automation, various industry use cases, and how applying intelligent automation in those industry use cases will help the organizations in their automation journey. Now, at the end of this trail, as a citizen developer, you would be confident of building a basic functional task bot. As a next step in your citizen developer journey, what we have is the citizen developer practitioner learning trail. Now, in this learning trail, this is a perfect example of, let's say, a blended learning. Now, we have a set of e-learning courses in the self-paced e-learning courses in this learning trail that cover the topics that are listed here. Now, apart from that, an interesting component of this learning trail is what we call as the mentoring session with the experts. So you have a channel where you can discuss with expert AU instructors about the questions you have in terms of building automation. And as you have multiple people from multiple organizations participating in that Ask the Expert session, you can also learn from your peers based on the questions they ask during those sessions. So that's what we have for citizen developers. Now, you start off as a citizen developer and then you grow into, let's say, a pro developer, right? And you would want to get certified. So in that case, the path to certification would be the same as what we just saw for the pro developer. Right now, this is all about developers, the developer community. Now, I also saw a question in the Q&A about how somebody new to RPA would start. And I think even Anne, during her discussion, mentioned about how her team is consists of financial experts, and they are probably new to IT. Now, for such audience, what do we have? Somebody who's new to intelligent automation. Right now, what we have is a learning trail called Getting Started with RPA, which covers the basic concepts and functionalities in RPA and how you can use RPA to build basic automations that you can use in an organization. Followed by that, what we have is a set of industry-specific use cases for various industries that are listed here. In this learning trail, we talk about the challenges that are faced in each of these industries and how applying intelligent automation can address those challenges. Further, we have a learning trail called Getting Started with the RPA development lifecycle. Now, this kind of allows the new learners who are new to intelligent automation to picture how the automation journey would be, what are the different phases in that journey, and what are the different roles that play a part in each of those phases, what their responsibilities and roles and responsibilities will be. For example, what does a business analyst do when your organization is going in for automation? Or what role does the COE play in terms of establishing the center of excellence, the governance principles and things like that? Or even how does a bot developer start building a bot? Where does he or she get the requirements for them to start building the bot? Right, so that's for new learners. If you look at one step ahead, if you look at, let's say, a COE or an automation leader, we have a milestone-based learning trail for the automation leader, which talks about the significance of COE, significance of setting up the COE in the automation journey, and also how to use the COE manager application to kind of build a pipeline for the automation use cases. Right?
Hey, Sanjay,
now,
I'm going to jump in just 2-3 more minutes.
Sure. Yes, I'll wind up in a minute. Yeah, and we have a set of courses that are coming soon into Automation Anywhere University. So please look forward to them as well. Right. So that's kind of a preview of what we have in Automation Anywhere University for various roles. Apart from these, we have curated list of content for each of these roles that are listed over here. And we are continuously evolving. We are creating content that is relevant for each of these roles that we talked about and are listed here. And we continuously listening to feedback. Our leadership team, whenever there is a learner interaction, listens to feedback, and that helps us kind of update our content and provide something that's more relevant to you. And also, if you have a question or a suggestion or anything that you want to communicate with us, there are ways you can reach us from the Automation Anywhere University website. Right now, we saw how Automation Anywhere University has a lot of content that's relevant to various roles. Apart from Automation Anywhere University, the Pathfinder and the community also has a lot of informal content. So I urge each of you to make use of those modes of learning as well to help you in your intelligent automation journey. So that's pretty much what I had in the planned in the session. So any questions we can take up.
And as people are typing their questions, I want to thank all of you for coming. We greatly appreciate your interest in this topic that I know is very important for many of us. There is a lot more happening this week, so please stay tuned on our Pathfinder community site. And, I also want to congratulate all of you for taking the time for joining today and for all your questions, for making the session lively, and for making it a success for the Space Camp mission this week. Suzanne, back to you.
Great, thank you so much again. We love having all your participation and are grateful for you all to join us. Special thank you to our host, Binu, and to our panelists. It's always fantastic to hear from people who are in the field using the technology and finding success. And just with 2 more minutes left, just want to do a quick wrap up. I also want to note that post this event, you'll be asked to complete a survey, and we do take that feedback seriously. So please feel free to give us some feedback on this session as well as any other opportunities. We look forward to hearing from you. Couple exciting updates. Imagine is back in person. We will be in Austin, Texas in September. For all of our Space Camp attendees and community, we do have early bird pricing offers available. There is a link on the screen. Also should be in the chat. Happy to follow up with anybody who has any additional questions here. We would really love for you to attend. It starts on September 18th, and we'll have day 0 and day 1, 2. Cannot wait to see you there. The second piece of exciting information, I know there was a question about generative AI, and that is one of the leading product inquiries within the organization. And we are excited that we are working feverishly to make sure that we have resources and insights and updates on how we are utilizing our technology to interact and amplify the generative AI conversation. So here's a quick link for some more information. Go ahead, go here, and we are excited for what's to come. Thank you all for joining. Appreciate your participation and look forward to seeing you in another session.